Welcome back to the breakdown. It is Friday, August 2nd. We have a 15-game slate. And we're going to look at every single game, break down who I think wins, over-unders, look at good and bad matchups, and everything in between. If you are new, we do these every Monday through Friday. If you're only interested in a game or two, they're all timestamped down below, so feel free to hop around if you want to. And we're going to dive into things. My name's Austin. Do me a favor, go down below, hit that subscribe button, drop a like. If you want to check out our official picks, our best bets, that video will be posted after this one, so definitely go tap into that. But let's dive into the games. I have nothing else to promote here. If you ever need any sportsbook sign-up bonuses, that stuff should be down below in the description. It's Friday. Let's have a wonderful day. Sit back, relax. Let's dive into the games. The first one is the only early game on the slate. We're going out to Wrigley Field. You have the Cardinals taking on the Cubs. Now, yesterday, if you took the under in this game, you got absolutely wrecked as the Cubs came back. Well, they scored 3 in the bottom of the ninth, 1 over, and they won that game. Today, we have Eric Fetty making his debut with the Cardinals facing Javier Assad. Now, if you ever watched Assad pitch, he's not efficient, so don't expect a long outing from him. He probably only goes 5 here, but you've talked with the Cubs bullpen. Elite. I mean, first in ERA the last 2 weeks. They're the reason, they won that game yesterday. They tried to get another inning out of Shota, and what happened? Imanaka gave up 3 earned runs. We talk about all the time. Shota sucks his third time through the order, and that kind of happened. He gave up his fair share of earned runs. He's lucky the Cubs bailed him out in that bottom of the ninth. Got up some runs on the Cardinals bullpen that's been struggling. So, again, we have 7.5 total here. We have basically a pick 'em. I think this goes under. Honestly, I think everyone got wrecked on the under yesterday. There's no way those psychos are running it back. I like Fetty. I don't love Assad, but I like that Cubs bullpen to hold things down. I really think this is a game that goes under. Not sure I'll bet it because I don't like taking early games. It just feels like you start 0-1 and then your rest of your night, it feels like you're chasing your losses. But I do lean the under in this game. In terms of who wins, that's a tough one. I lean the Cardinals, but I honestly don't have a big lean on who I think wins that game. It's a pick 'em for a reason. Next game, we have the battle of the lefties, and 2 good ones. Royals and Tigers. You got Cole Reagans going against Tariq Skubal. Now, yesterday, shout out the Tigers. You did nothing for us. We had the over 8.5. Royals scored 7. All we needed was 2 runs. Couldn't get anything going. Today, they are favored, not due to their offense. It's mostly due to Tariq Skubal on the mound. I just don't know how you back the Tigers right now. They haven't been great against righties. They haven't been great against lefties either. They'll face Reagan's a very talented lefty. Sure, Skubal's great, but the Royals, if they can get Skubal out of the game, that Detroit bullpen hasn't been great recently. I trust the Royals a lot more. Not sure I'll bet them today, but still a total at 6.5 or 7. Obviously going to be a low-scoring game, which if it's low-scoring, that obviously bodes well for the Tigers. I just don't know how anyone can go in on their sportsbook and bet on the Tigers right now. I think this is just a total pass for me. No real leans here. Skubal obviously will do his job, but that Tigers offense is disgusting. Probably just a pass on this game, although I do expect two high strikeouts totals in this game. Skubal's so good at that. Cole Reagan's so good at that. A guy will want to note, Bobby Witt Jr. really struggling against Tariq Skubal. We'll talk about it a little bit more at the end of the video when we talk about good versus bad matchups. And Bobby, unfortunately, I love Bobby, one of his favorite fans that might have a man crush on him. Don't come after me. He's a nice looking dude, but he has been struggling today. We'll see if he can continue his 14 game hit streak, which did tie his season long. He has 214 so far. Maybe it ends today. Maybe 15 is just his unlucky number. Let's move on to the next one. Diamondbacks versus Pirates. Now, you have Pirates slight dogs, plus 110 at home. Honestly, you look here, obviously Arizona appears to have a big offensive advantage, but Luis Ortiz has been dominant as a starter for the Pirates. If you watched yesterday's video, we kind of did a lot of July breakdowns, who had the best ERAs and the worst ERAs in July. One of the best ones, Luis Ortiz, he was even better than Paul Skeens. He was at like a 1.52. He's been elite, but today he gets a task against the Diamondbacks offense that has been really good against righties recently and really good getting those timely hits. Again, 8.5 total. Not a shock to see the Pirates as slight dogs here, given the offensive production of the D-backs, but I kind of like an under in this spot. I think Luis Ortiz can pitch well here. He's pitched well all season long. Is the wheels going to fall off today against the D-backs? Maybe, but I do lean an under in this spot. If I had to back a team, still I lean the D-backs. I just think I like Brandon Pfaadt. I think he can pitch decently, give them a chance. It's kind of what he does. He goes out there, throws 6, gives up 2 and 3 maybe earned runs. I think he pitches well. The Pirates are just on offense. I'm really trusting a lot. That sub 200 batting average with runners in scoring position, probably why I would not back the Pirates. It's D-backs or pass for me, but I kind of like the under a little bit more. Maybe a first 5 under, because those bullpens, they can be liable for some runs. O'Neal Cruz, though, if you bet an under with him, he's out for vengeance. That guy bets the over every game. He refuses to field a clean ball. He just wants to be superhero. Next game, we have Brewers and Nationals, a high total. We have a 9 or 9.5 total here. Not a big surprise when you get Frankie Montas against Jake Irvin. I'm honestly shocked the Nationals are only plus 100, but that's the Frankie Montas effect. He's been terrible. If you watched July's video, like I said yesterday, worst ERAs, Frankie Montas was one of the worst ones in July. He's obviously making his debut, I believe, with the Brewers here. Jake Irvin hasn't been much better recently. I won't lie to you. He has not been great. The Brewers have the bats to get to him. The Brewers are just an offense that you never know what you get. You either get 6 or 2 from them. And I don't know if that's a team that I really want to back, a team that's super inconsistent. I'd rather back, a team that's consistently getting runs and base runners. That's a team that's not consistently doing it. Kind of could say the same for the Nationals. I feel like they put up 6 or 2 as well. So I don't really have a great lean here in game 1 of this series. I do know the Nationals bullpen is terrible. So if you're ever betting the Nats, I don't know how you want to go outside of the first 5 for them. But still, I think this is it's a sharp total at 9. I wouldn't be shocked if there's 13 runs here. Wouldn't be shocked if there's 5. These are 2 offenses that are very hit or miss. Probably not a game that I'm really running out to back, if I'm being honest. Next day, we have a divisional matchup. Blue Jays, Yankees. Kevin Gausman taking on Marcus Stroman, an 8.5 total. Not a huge shock to see the Yankees as big home favorites. I still like runs in this game. I think we see a lot of runs. I mean, we're talking about Toronto's bullpen, terrible. Talking about Yankees bullpen, better the last week, but still hasn't been, great. And Toronto's been getting the timely hits, and the Yankees have been red hot against righties. I mean, second in batting average, first in OPS, first in WRC plus. If you don't know what WRC plus is, it's just an offensive metric that kind of bakes into a lot of different things. If you're thinking about the best offensive seasons by a single player, Barry Bonds is at a 248. Judge this season is in 220. So anything in the 150s is very good. That's first, obviously. Toronto's been no slouch against righties. They can get things going. They've seen Marcus Stroman a good amount. I think they can hit him around. Honestly, Stroman has not been a very efficient guy. He will walk batters. I think they get some runs here. I think there's runs in this game. So I like the over 8.5. I don't know if I'll take it as an official play, but I do like runs in this game. The Yankees have been too scorching hot. And when we talk about guys in good and bad matchups, the Yankees have several guys that are in a good matchup against Gausman. They've hit him pretty well. I want to say his first start of the year, he gave 6 earned runs to him. Pitched better in his second start, if I'm not mistaken, against the Yankees. I have to look into his splits a little bit more. But I like runs in this game. I think we see runs early against Gausman and Stroman and late against those 2 bullpens. Next game, we have another game 2 of this series. Orioles taking on the Guardians. You have 9.5 total, I believe the highest one we've talked about. Guardians smoked the O's yesterday, and I would have backed the Guardians if I knew officially Trevor Rogers was making his debut, and he did, and he stunk. Dean Kramer, though, today for the O's versus Carlos Carrasco. I don't know how you look at this game and don't want runs. Baltimore's been really good against righties. If I'm going to back them, I think today's the day. The only problem with the O's and Dean Kramer, every time I back Dean Kramer, he looks like me on the mound. When I don't back him, he's Cy Young. He's the best pitcher of all time. But every time I back Dean Kramer, he sucks. The problem today, if you want to back him, well, not problem, is really Cleveland's still struggling against righties. They've been getting the lefties, which is why I would have backed him yesterday against Trevor Rogers. But righties, they just can't seem to figure it out. Now, maybe it comes against Dean Kramer, who I don't think is very good. But it's like you're flipping a coin. Do you think they're showing up today? I don't really know. They've been better with runners in scoring position. If I'm betting anything here, I'm betting the O's. Bet maybe their team total. I don't know if I'd want to take them outside the first 5. I kind of like that first 5. Get in and out against Carlos Carrasco and Dean Kramer. Bullpens, obviously, you see a clear advantage for Cleveland there. I do lean the O's money line, but I probably would just take them first 5 if I had to bet them. I'd rather trust them there than outside of the first 5 when that bullpen comes in. Disgusting, and Cleveland's bullpen's been really good. So it's like O's first 5 money line or pass for me. Next game, we should have a battle of the lefties. Kyle Harrison versus Andrew Abbott. Kyle Harrison's the one that's TBD. I'm pretty sure he's starting against Andrew Abbott. Another 9.5 total here. You see kind of a pick'em. The Reds are slight favorites here, but not huge favorites. It's not like they're minus 150. If I'm ever backing the Giants, it's against lefties, and they'll face the lefty Andrew Abbott today. Really good in OPS and WRC+. I need to see how Elliot Ramos, what his hits, runs, RBI square is. He's been absolutely raking against lefties. He'll be in there. The problem with the Reds is they've been terrible against lefties. Kyle Harrison's not great. I won't lie to you. He's not good. But still, the Reds have been really bad. I don't mind maybe looking at an underdog money line spot here for the Giants. Obviously, coming off a game, they won 1-0, something like that against the A's. Had the day off, traveling to Cincy. I like them against lefties. Abbott's been solid, but recently it feels like Abbott hasn't been too good. So I kind of like the Giants on the money line here. I might be looking at some Ramos hits, runs, RBIs if it's not too juice, but at 9.5 total, I imagine it's pretty juice, but I'll take a peek at that. Maybe that makes the official card. He's just been crushing lefties. Really, the Giants as a team crush lefties. They just stink against righties for whatever reason. I mean, not a surprise. They have a lot of good right-handed bats in there. Don't have a lot of good left-handed bats. Thinking about guys like Patrick Bailey. What is he, a switch hitter? Yastrzemski, Lamont Wade's a solid lefty in there too. But outside of that, not a lot of good lefty bats in their lineup. They have a lot more righties like Elliot Ramos. I like them a lot today. I like the Giants if I had to back them, maybe on the money line. But I'll have to look into a little bit more. Maybe a Elliot Ramos or something along those lines. Next game, we have game 2 of this series, Marlins and Braves. I believe it's Valiente Bioza pitching today for the Marlins, but don't quote me on that. He is TBD. They don't have a starter listed against Spencer Schwellenbach. Bioza, I believe they dropped him down to the AAAs. I think they're calling him up here. A big total here, 9.5. Not a big surprise to see Braves big favorites. I just don't know. I mean, yesterday, if you played Braves minus 1.5, you got to win, but it wasn't easy. The Marlins bullpen's been really good recently, and Miami's offense is annoying. They're going to get base runners here and there. So, again, this is not a game. I'm not rushing out the bet lay juice on a run line for the Braves, especially with Schwellenbach. I don't trust that guy. Sure, he's pitched well. What was his last start against? The Mets that he pitched pretty well against, but sure, props to him. But this is a Marlins team that, like I said, I talked about yesterday. I don't hate them. I don't think they have some. People are trashing them because they traded away some guys. I'm here to tell you, Jazz Chisholm sucked for the Marlins. Brian De La Cruz was a double every 5 days, and then Josh Bell was decent, but he never felt like he got timely hits unless it was against Craig Kimbrell. So, I mean, he was heating up before they traded him. But again, I like their young guys in there. Those are guys that are not afraid to steal bases. They're going to run out ground balls. A lot of the guys, it felt like pre-trade deadline, Marlins were not trying at all. Now you get guys that try hard because they're young guys trying to make a name for themselves. So I don't mind the Marlins. I'm not backing them here, but I just don't think I'm betting the Braves, if I'm being honest. But Yoza, not a guy that I love. But the Braves offense just has been terrible. Next game, you have Red Sox versus Rangers. Now, we have Cutter Crawford versus our boy, Jose Urena. If you've been watching the Call and Shot videos, you know we love fading Urena. I'll be honest, he's been pretty good recently. And I looked at his splits. He's been good against lefties. Because if he sucked against lefties, well, probably back in Boston in some capacity here. But I don't know how far Urena goes in here. He is questionably the starter. He's not going to go too far. Maybe you see Dane Dunning right after him. I still lean the Red Sox here just because, honestly, how do you not want to bet the Red Sox? You look at their splits right now against righties compared to Texas against righties. I mean, what gives you any confidence to go out there and bet the Rangers? If I'm betting anything here, it's maybe Boston first 5. We've talked about their bullpen. Absolutely terrible. 30th, dead last in ERA last 2 weeks. They've been absolutely abysmal. Urena, the only reason I'm not fading him right now is he's been decent against lefties. And we know Boston's going to stack, 7 lefties in their lineup? But it's still Jose Urena. That trash can is still somewhere in there. He's been decent this year, but Boston's been so good against righties recently. I don't know how you don't want to back them. I just would only maybe prefer the first 5 just because I don't know if I want to go full game here with that bullpen just looming back there. I do lean Boston, though. If I had to bet full game, it would be them. They are a little bit favored on the road. You don't see a lot of road favorites, especially against Texas. But I do think that they win this game. Next game, we have the biggest favorite of the day. And not a surprise, comes with the demise of the White Sox as they are minus 300. The Twins, that is, 8.5 total. Man, that's disgusting. Go down below, even more disgusting. Look at those batting averages with runners in scoring position. White Sox 163, Twins right above them at 176. I mean, these are two teams that can't get the timely hits, and their bullpens stink. I just don't know how I would want to attack here. I think Davis Martin is his name, going for the White Sox. I think he's making his not a lot of starts on the year. That 2.25 whip is nasty, but I think there's runs here. I don't know how they come, and I don't think I'd bet the Twins because I'm not laying minus 300 on a team, but I do think there's runs here. Davis Martin stinks. And Joe Ryan, call it what it is. The guy throws turkeys. He throws things down the middle of the plate, and the White Sox are swinging for the fences these days. So I wouldn't be shocked if the White Sox get a couple runs maybe on Joe Ryan. That wouldn't shock me. Joe Ryan, he was a guy with great stats at the end of the year, but anytime you back him, he's always giving you 2 or 3, and you're like, why do you do this? It's like, that's just what he does. He just throws things down the middle of the plate, and MLB hitters can time it up and hit home runs. It comes down to if those are solo or 1 or 2 or 3 run homers. I do lean the over in this game, but I don't think I'm betting any. I don't want to watch a White Sox Twins game. Not right now. The bullpens are disgusting, and I hate Joe Ryan. So if I had to bet anything here, it's the over 8.5. I'm not laying minus 2.5 and only get plus 110. No. Next game, we have Rays and Astros. Now, obviously, these two teams, maybe beginning of the year, you might have looked forward to the series. Now that the Rays have kind of had a fire sale, not sure if it's as big as possible, but you have Kikuchi making his debut with the Astros against Shane Baz of the Rays. A low total, 7.5. Now, Rays, early July, really good against lefties. They've kind of started to come back to earth, but they have seen Kikuchi a lot, and they have pretty good OPS and WRC plus versus left-handed pitching. Obviously, got rid of some guys in there like Randy, Isaac Paredes, who's been pretty bad recently, and Christopher Morel's been pretty solid. I lean the Rays here. I don't know if I bet them on the money line, maybe just backing them in some capacity in terms of their team total. I just don't love Kikuchi. They've seen him a ton. Kikuchi, I feel like they overpaid a little bit for him. Maybe they see something in fixing Kikuchi. The Astros both, bats haven't been great. I'm waiting for them to get Kyle Tucker back. Let me know when that happens, but I just don't know if I want to lay minus 160 on the Astros here. I do lean the Rays. I think they maybe hit their team total over, which I imagine is a low or maybe a 2.5 plus money. I could see them getting to Kikuchi. He's just not been great recently, and they've seen him a ton. So not a game I'm really rushing out to run to back. I do lean the Rays, though. If I had to bet anything there, maybe their first 5 plus a half. Just don't know if I want to trust Shane Baz. I just don't know if that's a guy that I'm going to run out and trust a ton. Next game, we have Mets versus Angels. Now you have 8.5 total here. Angels short dogs plus 120. Paul Blackburn making his debut against the Angels. But the problem for Paul making his debut is they just saw him. I think had his pitching splits up here. What did he do? Last Friday, so a week ago, he went 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 homers against the Angels. So they've seen him. I wouldn't be shocked if the Angels are winning through the first 5. I might even back them plus a half. Now, I say that, the Mets have been scorching hot, but look at their splits against lefties. Have not faced a ton of lefties, but struggling against left-handed pitching. And Tyler Anderson, love him or hate him, he's not overwhelming people with the fastball, blowing it past him, but he's been serviceable, getting those timely outs. I might look at a little Angels plus a half in the first 5, or maybe just backing the Angels in some capacity full game. The run line a little too juiced for me, but I don't know, maybe fading the Mets, taking their not team total under, maybe team total under. It's probably 4.5. I don't hate that. I think Anderson gives them a solid start. Comes to that bullpen. Angels bullpen sold yesterday, giving up, I believe, 2 in the top of the 9th, the forced extras, and that game went over. Couldn't get that luck in Kansas City, but I lean the Angels here. I'm not sure I'd bet them full game money line, but wouldn't be shocked if on the official card there's some capacity backing the Angels or some capacity fading the Mets today. They just haven't been good against lefties. Look, until you gotta prove it. You're better against lefties. They have not been too good. We got a couple more games on the slate. Dodgers and Athletics. Gavin Stone versus Joey Estes, an 8.5 total. Obviously, the Dodgers are going to be favored here, but these are two offenses that have been middle of the pack against righties. A's actually a little bit better than the Dodgers recently. I really wanted to back Shohei Ohtani. I won't lie to you. I want to back him. I think tonight, you want my little home run pick? I think Ohtani hits a homer today. The problem with it, I was going to take his bases, but it was 2.5. So I might look at taking his bases parlayed. Maybe the Dodgers will score some runs or something like that. I might look into that. I really want to back him. Estes is really struggling against lefties. Ohtani coming off a couple games, he's gone under in bases, going into Oakland. I think he just absolutely hits a nuke there. He's played there plenty of times. Obviously, the A's are in that Angels division, right? Those are the same division. So he's played there a bunch. I think he knows how to hit there. I really like Ohtani today. Might take him to get a home run or bases or something. I think he hits a homer today. I like the Dodgers to put up runs. Gavin Stone, he's decent. He does well against lefties. I do know that. I still like the Oakland A's. I think they can continue to put up runs. It's just what they've been doing. And until they stop putting up runs, you just kind of have to back them or backing over in this game. A's bullpen has been better, so I wouldn't be shocked if they cover the plus 1.5, given how bad the Dodgers bullpen has been. Again, I like runs in this game, and I probably will be on something Shohei Ohtani in some way or another. If it's not a straight bet, maybe it's a long shot. Next game, we have Phillies taking on the Mariners. Honestly, you look at the abbreviations it says pass. That's kind of how I feel here. I mean, the Mariners have been better against righties, swinging for a lot more power. I just don't know how one wants to go out there and back the Phillies. This team has just been absolutely terrible against righties. Today they get Brian Wu. I mean, Bryce Harper, will talk about him in the hot and cold. He's ice cold. Maybe he figures it out against Brian Wu. Doubt it. But again, this is just the Phillies offense. Terrible against righties recently. It's Mariners or pass for me. I don't love either bullpen. Phillies has been a little bit worse, but this is just probably a pass on this game. Don't mind maybe a nerfy here. I wouldn't mind a nerfy. It just feels like when I take Phillies nerfies, Bryce Harper figures it out. And that'll aggravate me. But again, I don't maybe mind a nerfy in this spot. Brian Wu's been good. Phillips for the Phillies. making a name for himself in that rotation. A .76 whip in his couple of starts. He's been really good. I probably like an under in this game. The Phillies just have been terrible. Might look at a nerfy, though. I'll have to look at those splits. Mariners nerfies, I feel like the last couple I've taken. Victor Robles is on first. Randy forces him to second, and the Cal Raleigh hits him in. Final game on the slate before we talk about some good and bad matchups. We have the Rockies taking on the Padres. Minus 185 is what you're going to have to pay for Padres money line. You had Austin Gomber versus Randy Vasquez. Now, on paper, San Diego's been pretty good against lefties last 2 weeks. We've talked about it before. Austin Gomber, a lot better on the road than he is at home. We did technically fade him in his last road start against the Giants, a team that hits lefties well. I actually think he pitches decently today against the Padres. I wanted to take Randy Vasquez under in earned runs. The problem is it's a 1.5, and I don't know if I want to lean out on that. Kind of want to fade the Rockies, though, in some capacity. Not sure how I'm going to fade him, but hey, Randy, I've tried to fade him a lot this year, and every time I fade him, he becomes the GOAT. He's been pitching well. Besides his last start, sure, I'll give him his last start. He sucks, but it's been decently. The Rockies are not an offense I'm really too afraid of. Sure, good splits against righties recently, but Randy sucks against lefties, and they just don't have a lot of lefties I'm afraid of. I mean, Michael Toglia, that guy just hits a home runs, or his auto strikeout. Charlie Blackmon, sure, he's the GOAT. But outside of Charlie, I mean, Brenton Doyle, is he a lefty? I think. They just don't have a lot of good lefties in that lineup, and that's kind of what cooks Randy Vasquez. Ryan McMahon, I guess, is a lefty in there, but he's been struggling really bad recently. So I actually lean the Padres here, minus 1.5. Maybe would take a shot on it, but I think this is an under spot. You can get an 8.5. I actually kind of like the under in this game. And then finally, let's wrap up talking about some good hitters and bad matchups and things of that nature. Let's look at guys that have been scorching hot. I think I'm going to start ranking these by OPS, on base plus slugging. That gives you a good indicator if they're swinging a hot bat and they're getting those extra base hits. Because if you want to back guys for 2+ bases, these are probably the guys that are swinging hot bats. Vladdy, no surprise there. Schwarber, Cody Bellinger in his return has been really good. Judge should probably be there every day. Eugenio Suarez, obviously his 3 home run game inflated that a little bit, but he's been really good. And Jose Ramirez has been really good. In terms of guys that are ice cold, talked about Bryce Harper. His teammate 2 spots below, Trey Turner, also struggling. Andy Pajes for the Dodgers, struggling as well. And then Adley Rutschman and Will Smith. When Will Smith is not hitting the ball well, he sucks. But when he suddenly hits the ball well, it's 2+ bags every night. Currently, he's pretty ice cold, but those are just guys that are hot and cold. And finally, kind of what I like to look at is good and bad matchups. We have a lot of Yankees. I already talked about this before. A lot of Yankees on this list. Juan Soto, 7 for 13 with 11 walks against Gausman. That's insane. Stanton, 7 for 19. You have Judge down there, 11 for 37, but of the 11 hits, 5 home runs. Salvador Perez, pretty good splits against Skubal. Brandon Nimmo, the only Met with decent splits against Tyler Anderson. And then Ha-Seong Kim, not normally a guy that makes this list, but 6 for 18 with 5 doubles. I don't know if he's healthy, though, but he has a lot of doubles against Gomber, so maybe he's a sneaky 2+ bases guy. I don't know his health, though. Don't quote me on that. Guys that are in bad matchups. Manny Machado struggling against Gomber, 5 for 28. Talked about Bobby Witt Jr., 3 for 19. Breaks my heart to see him there. 158 against Skubal. Anthony Volpe. I talked about a lot of Yankees with hot splits against Gausman. He's not one of them. 0 for 15 with 10 strikeouts against Gausman. Jesus, what are we doing, man? Nolan Arenado versus Assad, 1 for 11. Luis Robert Jr., 0 for 6. Ellie De La Cruz, the lefty on lefty matchup. Well, he technically is a switch hitter. Righty and left, whatever. He struggled 0 for 5 against Kyle Harrison. Those are some good and bad matchups. Take it with what you will. I'll probably be looking into some more. Maybe backing some of these guys in some capacity. I have no idea. But I hope you guys enjoyed Friday's breakdown. Like I normally say, we don't do these on the weekend, and I won't be able to this weekend. I'm a little bit busy, at least during the day, and these videos take a lot of work. So I'll just focus on the best bets, put all my energy there. We all have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you guys back in the best bets videos for Saturday and Sunday. And obviously Friday. I'll link that when it is live. I'll link that somewhere on the screen. And you guys have just a great Friday, great weekend. And I'll see you guys back on Monday and Monday's edition of the breakdown. But you'll see me in the best bets video if you guys check those out, which I strongly encourage you to, because we're going to have a monster August putting that into existence. Have a great Friday, great weekend. See you guys in the next one. Peace.